Hi there, how are you? I'm excellent, thank you. My name is Teacher Ulrich, and today you are joining me to start a brand new lesson from Wordly Wise, Book 5. Today we will start with Lesson 8. It's time for Day 1. In this lesson, you will need your 15 words from Word List 8. You'll find that in your Wordly Wise Book 5 under Lesson 8. Today, we will look at each word and talk about their different meanings. Note that some words have noun meanings, which are name words. Some have verb meanings, which are doing words. Some have adjective meanings and adverb meanings, which are describing words. So make sure that you have Lesson 8's word list ready to go. Great. Do you have it ready? Let's begin. The first word is assemble. Assemble. We can see here that assemble has 1, 2 verb meanings. The first verb meaning of assemble is something you do, right? To assemble is to bring together in a group, to gather, assemble. At 2 o'clock we assembled at the door of the museum for a tour. All my friends assembled at my house for my birthday party. They came together. The second meaning for assemble, the second verb meaning, is to put or fit together. To assemble. You need only a screwdriver to assemble the bookcase. Do you like to assemble Legos to put it together? Assembly is another form of the word. Assembly has a noun meaning. Assembly is the name of a group of people gathered for a certain purpose. There is an assembly at my house for my birthday party. So it's a group of people gathered for a certain purpose. At the assembly this morning, the fire chief will talk to us about fire prevention. So when all the classes of your school all come together in one place, that's called an assembly. The second noun meaning for assembly is the name, the fitting together of various parts. The assembly. The assembly of the new desk took less than an hour. The assembly of this Lego can take you 5 hours. Maybe the assembly of this Lego will be faster for you than it is for me. I'll be very slow. Next, it's banquet. Banquet. Banquet is the name of a large meal for many people. It's a synonym for feast. Here we see the Queen of England. This is a banquet. We see many people gathered to eat. It's a banquet. Fancy foods were served at the banquet, which was given in honor of the teachers who were retiring. Have you ever been to a banquet? To a large meal for many people, and it's usually very fancy banquet. Next, it's cargo. Cargo is the name of the load carried by a plane or a ship. The cargo. See, this is a cargo plane. It does not take people, it only takes things. So it's the name of the load carried by a plane or a ship. It's cargo. The cargo going to Chile was put into containers and loaded onto the boat. See, the cargo going to Europe was put into boxes and loaded on the plane, the cargo. Next, it's cask. Cask is the name of a barrel-shaped container, especially one for holding liquids. So they put wine, whiskey, and some alcohol they put in casks. In the 1800s, ships carried drinking water for the sailors in large casks. So if you worked on a ship in the 1800s, you would drink your water from a cask. If you go to restaurants, you'll still see casks. They just put them there for decoration. But still today, wine and certain alcohols are still put and stored in casks. Celebrate. Celebrate has a verb meaning. To celebrate is to honor something in a special way. Americans celebrate the signing of the Declaration of Independence every 4th of July. How do the Americans celebrate 4th of July? With fireworks. In my country, we celebrate New Year's with fireworks. What is your favorite way to celebrate your birthday? To go out to eat something nice? To get a big gift? Celebrate. Celebrated. Now this is not necessarily the meaning, which is the past tense for celebrate. Celebrated has an adjective meaning. We use this word to describe things which are famous. South Africa's celebrated food is bobotie and rice. It's a special kind of dish. Ooh, it's delicious. So it's famous, it's celebrated. Marianne Anderson, the celebrated African-American singer, performed on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. She's a celebrated singer. That means she's famous. Charlize Theron is a celebrated South African actress. She's very famous. Nelson Mandela is a very celebrated South African politician. He's very famous. Do you know who Nelson Mandela was? Of course you do. He's celebrated. He's famous. Next, it's decrease. Now listen carefully. Decrease. Look at this pronunciation. Decrease. To decrease something is to do something. Or if something decreases, it becomes smaller or less. After June 22nd, the length of the day gradually decreases, because then it becomes winter. So in winter, the length of the days decrease. They become less, they become shorter, smaller. The amount of money in my wallet is decreasing as I spend it. It becomes less. The next meaning, the noun meaning for decrease, is also said differently. Decrease. Not decrease. Decrease is to become smaller or less. Decrease is the name of the amount by which something becomes smaller. If you mix these pronunciations up, it's okay. Not the end of the world. But note it's decrease, but it's spelt exactly the same. To decrease, if something decrease, it's the amount of which something became smaller. An outbreak of flu caused a decrease in school attendance during January. The coronavirus caused a decrease in exports for many countries. Decrease. The next word is desperate. It's not good to be desperate. Desperate has two adjective meanings. The first adjective, desperate, is the word we use to describe someone or something which is reckless because of feeling of despair. The action star in the movie jumped from a 5-story building in a desperate attempt to escape her captors. Desperate. So if you do something desperate, you do it recklessly. The second adjective meaning for desperate is a word we use to describe things so serious as to be almost hopeless. The situation of the homeless in our big cities is becoming increasingly desperate. It's very serious, almost hopeless. Next, it's edible. Edible has an adjective and noun meaning. The adjective, which is a describing word, remember, edible, we use edible to describe things which are safe or fit to be eaten. These are edible plants. Potato is an edible plant. Edible, or root rather. Are you certain those mushrooms are edible? Not all mushrooms are edible. Some are poisonous. Others are edible, safe or fit to be eaten. The noun edible is an item of food, anything that can be eaten. Edible. So the adjective we use edible to describe something. That is edible. It's an edible flower. Not an edible flower. This is an edible mushroom. See how it describes something. But edible is also the name of anything that can be eaten. Is this edible? It's edible. We'll serve the beverages at this end of the table, and the sandwiches and other edibles at the other end. There was a table full of edibles. Full of what? Full of food which you could eat. Full of edibles. I love crunchy edibles. Next, it's frivolous. 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 Frivolous has an adjective meaning. We use this word to describe things which are not serious or important. Frivolous things are silly. Spending money on items like comic books seems frivolous, not serious, not important, silly. Playing video games all day is a frivolous activity, not important, silly. Frivolity. Frivolity. Frivolity is a different form of the word. This word has a noun meaning. Frivolity is the name of something silly or light-hearted play. The giggling children had to be reminded that there is no place for frivolity during detention. Detention is a punishment you get at school. You have to go sit after school for like 2 hours if you didn't do your homework. In school, I used to sit a lot of detention. And there was no space for frivolity. You could not laugh or joke or be silly. You had to sit there and do your homework. Remember, frivolous or frivolity. Next, it's harvest. Harvest. Harvest has two noun meanings and one verb. The noun harvest is the name of the gathering of ripe crops for a season. It's the harvest. In Spain, the grape harvest begins in late summer. The harvest. The second noun meaning is the quality of crops gathered. Iowa's corn harvest is the largest in years. Iowa's corn harvest is the largest in years, the quantity of crops gathered. All the crops gathered is the harvest. I have a strawberry plant. I have a harvest of 10 strawberries. So those are the strawberries I gathered. Harvest. Next is the verb meaning. To harvest is to gather in crops. See, this guy is harvesting corn or something, maize, I think. He's harvesting. So remember, harvest has to do with farming, these three meanings. Next word is hew. Hew. To hew is to do something. It has two verb meanings. To hew is to chop down or cut down with blows from an axe. This is an axe. So you can hew down trees or branches. Let's hew these dead branches from the tree before they fall and cause damage. Hew. To chop down or cut down with blows from an axe. Gah, gah, gah. You hew down the tree or branches. The second verb meaning hew is to cut or shape with blows of an axe or similar tool. So a machete is a big knife. You can hew bushes with a machete, but it's chopping. Hew is whoosh, 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 to cut things with chops. The tlingit, I've literally never read this word. Tlingit. The tlingit of the northwest hewed totem poles from tree trunks. I don't know what totem poles are. Maybe branches. So someone hewed down branches. Kush, kush, kush. This machine is called a combine. See how it hews down the grains? It chops it down. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. It chops it down. It hews. He's hewing the grains. The next word is hostile or hostile. Both are correct. I would prefer to say hostile. Hostile has an adjective meaning. If you are hostile, you are unfriendly or like an enemy, hostile. Who is being hostile in this picture? This man is being hostile towards him. Hostile. He's unfriendly. He's like an enemy. Hostility is a different form of the word. This word has a noun meaning. Hostility is the name of the expression of unfriendly feelings. The governor's plan to close the neighborhood school met with so much hostility that it was quickly dropped. Hostility is the name of the expression of unfriendly feelings. This man showed hostility towards his friend. Water! The expression of unfriendly feelings. Next, it's pledge. Pledge. Pledge has a verb and noun meaning. These two meanings are closely related. So to pledge is something you do. To pledge is to make a serious promise. I pledge to you that I will find your lost dog. I make a serious promise. A dozen local store owners have pledged their support for the new arts program. Pledged. They made a promise, a serious promise. Pledge. The noun is the name of a serious promise. Our class signed a pledge to respect one another. Now here are the two meanings. So in America they have a pledge of allegiance. Allegiance is loyalty. So this is the pledge of allegiance. All Americans know this by heart. They know this. I'm not an American, so I do not know this. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the pledge of allegiance. So is this the pledge of allegiance? Pledge used here, is this a noun or a verb meaning? It's a noun meaning because it's the name of something. This is the pledge of allegiance. They are pledging their allegiance. You have to stand with your hand on your heart. You can say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of South Africa. That's my country. You can do your country. Then you pledge your allegiance. The next word is prosper. Prosper has a verb meaning. To prosper is to succeed, especially in terms of money. If you start a business and it prospers, you make lots of money. Alaska, it's not a landlocked state of America, it's above Canada. Alaska prospered when oil was found there. They made a lot of money when oil was found. Prosperous. Prosperous has an adjective meaning. Something that's prosperous is enjoying growth and success. Prosperous. A prosperous business is one that's enjoying growth and success. A prosperous relationship is one that enjoys growth and success. The prosperous family also always helps people who are having a tough time. Prosperous family. So it's a family who are doing well. Prosperous family. What do you think is a good example of a prosperous business? McDonald's is a prosperous restaurant. It makes lots of money. If a restaurant closes down, it could be that they were not prosperous. They did not make money. And the last word is task. Task is the name of a piece of work that needs to be done, a task. Cutting our way through the jungle was a difficult task, something to be done. Cleaning the whole house is a very difficult task. Cleaning the house is something that has to be done. It's a difficult task. Friends, this is the end of today's lesson. Well done, and thank you for joining me to start Lesson 8 on a high note. Today we looked at 15 words from word list 8 and we spoke about their different meanings. Remember to join me in day 2 of lesson 8. In day 2 we will briefly remember the words and their meanings. We will also be doing activity 8A. So it's very important that you bring activity 8A with you for day 2's lesson. Great. Friends, that's it from me. Well done and thanks for joining. I can't wait to see you in day 2. Bye for now. Bye.